In today's Python for Beginners tutorial, we're going to be taking a deeper look into using strings. We're going to be creating strings, manipulating strings, and all sorts of other bits and pieces. So let's dive straight back in to the tutorial again. So the first thing we're going to do is just have a variable. We're going to call this s, and we're going to equal that to a string. So we could either use double quotes or single quotes. Let's just use single quotes for now. And the string value, we're just going to have this is a test string, like so. Okay, so we've now created our string variable, assigned it to that variable value. Now we can actually play with the string object. Remember that I said that Python is very object based, and so a string is therefore an object, and we can call upon different methods on that string object to manipulate the value of the string. To call upon a method in an object, you simply put in the object variable and then a dot, and now you can actually call upon those methods. We're going to uppercase this string, so where it says this is a test string, that will all be in uppercase. What I'm going to do now is run this in the terminal within the IDE. So what I need to do now is actually put this as standard output, print this out to some sort of terminal. So let's just type print and then put in s, like so. Let's save that, and what I'm going to do is just run this inside the terminal inside PyCharm. But notice that this hasn't actually changed. So this is a test string is just like this is a test string up here. We haven't actually altered how that is formatted by passing in the upper. So upper doesn't actually change the value, it changes the output. We're outputting s here. S is this up there. If we wanted to change it in the display, what we would do is copy that and put that into here like so. Let's save this and rerun this. So now we have this is a test string all in uppercase. So a point that I would like to make here is some of these methods on these objects, when you call them, they don't actually change the actual value that's stored in the variable. All they're doing is changing the output. So to recap, if I was to put this back in like so up here and then just print out s again, refresh this, we're going to get back to what the original value of s was. The reason why is because on line 2, where we're calling .upper, we're not actually printing that out. What we're doing is we're printing out s, which is at the original here, because upper doesn't actually transform that value. All it's doing is it's transforming the output of that value. So it's not actually setting it. If you think about it like a getter and a setter, all this is doing is getting that value and changing the output of that value to be uppercase. It's not setting that value to be uppercase at all. So let's put that back as this, like so. Run this again in the terminal, and as you can see, it has changed to this is a test string in all uppercase. So what we can do then is we can create another one, and instead of upper we can do lower, like so. Hit save, run this again in the terminal. We should have two, which we have here. The first one is uppercase and the second one is all in lowercase. What I'm going to quickly do is just put in some comments. So here we have uppercase string, and here we have lowercase string as well. Case string. Now there is another one. There is also a capitalize, like so. Now if I save that and run this again in the terminal, what we've done here is we've capitalized the first character in this string. So we've got a capital T here, which is exactly the same as how the original is up here. Now if I was to put that down to lowercase and perhaps put that up to uppercase, for instance, save this, run this again in the terminal, this is still uppercased, this is still lowercase, and this has been capitalized, which means that the I of the is lowercase, and this character is uppercase, the first character in the string. So let's just grab this and put that in as a comment. So this is capitalized string, like so, and let's just move some of these down just to make a little bit more room. So we're starting to build up different ways that we can actually output this string. And of course, if I was to print the original string, which is just S, and press save, refresh this, then this is exactly how the original looks like. And this is probably a better way of explaining. These functions here, upper, lower, and capitalize, these don't actually modify the value itself in the sense that you're not actually changing the value. What you're doing is you're changing the output of that value. So when we print S again, it's going back to what it was set originally because it hasn't been reset in these other methods. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is how to trim down white space that's on either side of the string. So for instance, we could have 2 spaces here and 2 spaces like so. Now if I ran this again, you'll see that it's slightly pushed over to the right hand side here, and if I was to just drag that to highlight it, you can see that there's some spaces either side, here and here, like so. It's not easy to see here, but what I can do is actually remove the white space. And what we're doing is we're stripping the white space out. To remove the white space, what I would do is type print, in the print parentheses have S, and call upon the method called strip, like so. Let's save that, return this now, and can you see that this one here has been stripped of all white space, whereas this one here and these 3 up here still have white space on either side. So we are stripping that out. These objects also allow you to chain the method calls. So for instance, if I wanted to strip out all the white space here, but I wanted to also call upper, then I can do so by chaining these methods together. So after this strip, I can now do upper like so. Let's hit save, refresh this, and now we have this that is stripped of white space, and it's in an uppercase format as well. So just for clarity, what I'm going to do is just add some comments here. So this strips white space and uppercase, like so. Now the next thing I'm going to demonstrate is how to actually find characters within a string. This is called finding the substring, a substring within a string. So for instance, up here where we have this is a test string, we might be wanting to find the position of, say, the first T, or the position of this string, the substring within this string. And we can do this by printing this out, so print, and we use the s.find method that we're going to call upon. Now the find method requires one argument, and that is the substring that we wish to look for. Again, that's going to be a string, so it needs to be as a string, but it has the start and end positions as well. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but let's just put in the find method, and let's just put in the substring that we wish to find of just T. Rerun this, and we can see that we have the output of 2. This means that this is at the position index of 2. If we go up here, we can see that we have white space, 2 pieces of white space, and that would start from index 0 and then index 1, and then the T would be index of 2. So we found T at position 2 within the string. This is the substring that we're looking for, which is T. Now if we were to change that to be TEST, so test, save that, refresh this, this is actually going to get position 12, and that is this position up here. So within this string, that is the 12th character within this string, the 12th index of the string. Now I mentioned before that find also has 2 optional arguments. One is the start and one is the end. This means you can actually sort of narrow down whereabouts in the string you want to find the substring. So for example, just going back to T and then hitting save, rerunning this, that will come back with 2, and that is because it's hit the first one. But what happens if we want to find this one? So we're not interested with the first word here, so we're interested in anything after the index of, say, 3. So let's put in the start position of 3, and let's put in a space between the 2, hit save, and rerun this. We can now see that it's picked up the T of test. All right, so this is at the 12th position. What about finding T in this position, in the substring of the text string? So let's just change that to be 13, for instance. Save that and rerun this file. We can see that that's come out as 15 because that is at the 15th position. And again, what I'm going to do is just put in some comments. So find substring starting at position 13, like so. Okay, for this next part, what I'm going to do is actually find the length of the string. But before I do that, I'm just going to move some bits and pieces around in the IDE so you can see it a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is just move the terminal here over to the right and then drag this over here so you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. I'm going to put all of this in the GitHub repository and I'll provide a link to that in the description below. Let's now continue with this tutorial and let's go and count the length of this string. And we do this using the len function, len meaning length. So let's say we want to print, so let's do a print of len and we're passing in s. So that's going to return the length, the size of this string. Let's save that, run this again, and we should have 25. This is saying that there's 25 characters within this string. Now with these strings, we can return a portion of the string, the substring if you will, based on its index. Remember I said that it starts from index 0, much like a list does. What we can do is actually print out the character that is at a particular index. We do this by just typing in print again, and instead of just putting in S, we actually put in open brackets like this. Now we know that we can find T from the starting position 13, and that returns an index of 15. So if we were to put in 15 here, and then hit save, rerun this, we should have T that's being returned. So that's returning the part of the string that is at position 15. Not only can we return one character in the string, but we can also return a set of characters within a substring. We can define the start positions and the end positions. At the moment, this is the starting and end position. If we were to put in a colon like this, and then put in, say, I don't know, 20, for instance, save that, run this, we're going to get T and then STR. This is the start of string. So that is the T that we've got, and then STR. If I was to remove 15 and say, let's say that was 11, and move that to 15, for instance, hit save, run this, then we're going to get TES, the start of test. If I was to change that to be 16, we're going to get the whole word of test. We're also getting some white space as well, because can you see it's indented a little bit to the right. So let's go and actually carve that up a little bit. So this should be 12. So 12 to 16 should return just the word test, or just the substring test. If we supply an end position that is bigger than the index of the final character, so let's say that was I don't know, 1000 for instance, and hit save, what we're actually going to do is just return everything up to the last part of the string. So let's just hit return, and so we have this is a test string, and of course we've got the white space as well. So even though we've asked for position 1000, our characters don't go that far. So it's truncating the return to the last part of the string. Also, what we can do is omit both of the end position and the start position, so we just have a colon on here. If we hit save and return this, that is going to return the whole string from the start to the end. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put in some comments. So this finds the length of the string, and I'm going to put this back to, I think it was 12 and I believe it was 16, the substring starting at pos 12 ending and ending at pos 16. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is how to actually replace parts of the string. So what I'm going to do is just change this a little bit. So instead of this is a test string, I'm going to change this to be I like cats. Okay, let's just remove that white space. Or let's just keep it in because we are stripping that out. So let's run this again and let's see what happens. So we have I like cats in uppercase, I like cats in lowercase. We've capitalized this one. This is in uppercase. And we also have a -1. Now this is happening because we don't actually have a character at position 13. If I was to change that to be 5 and then ran that again, that will be updated to position 9. So let's remove that from the comment to be position 9. Let's hit save. We can also see that we have a blank output here. This is from this print. So what we're going to do is just change that to be 5 and then 10, like so. And we're just going to change this as well. Let's save that. Run this again, and we now have E and cat. I'm going to just change this to be 7. Like so. Okay, so what we're going to do now is replace the word cat with the word dog. So what we're going to do is just run print again, and we're going to do S, and we're going to call upon the method replace of the string. And the first argument is the old string, and then the second one is the new string. That is the new string that we wish to replace the old string with. And also we can supply a count if we wish, so just in case there's more than one thing that we want to replace, it will replace 1 by default. So let's say we want to replace the string cats with the string dogs, like so. Let's just hit save, run this, and what we're going to see is I like dogs instead of I like cats. To finish this off, what I'm going to do is just have a comment in here. So we're going to just replace string cats with dogs, like so. And what I'm going to do as well is just move that final print right to the bottom, because that is printing out the original S value, which is just I like cats up here. Let's just run this again, and there we go. So that's the original. This is the uppercase, lowercase, and so on and so forth. These are the counts, and this is the replacement. Now there are other things that we can do with strings, such as concatenation, such as converting these to a list, so we have a list of all the characters within a string, that kind of thing, and lots of other bits and pieces too. I'm going to be doing those in individual tutorials within this course. But if you've got any comments, questions, or queries on this tutorial or on any other tutorials or courses that I've done, please put your thoughts down in the comments section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe, because I've got tutorials like this every week, as well as the software development discussions as well. Thanks ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone. I'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye.